Previously it was not like that. People were much more down to the earth. They were just knowing practically, even logically, that when I want this, then I have to do that. And while doing though, they realized, like you come close to the earth, you realize this is not your earth. Like example, farming and this. So you find farmers are naturally, completely naturally, more respectful people towards what's happening from the nature's side. They may not be even very religious, but they are more humble because they know no rain, no food. And I don't create the rain. So they know they are completely dependent on the nature. Whose nature? How? It's very easy to preach to a farmer like this. They were very, very religious actually. There's in America until today the Thanksgiving, festival. That's actually after the harvest. People collect and thank God for the harvest, and they have a big feast. And they thank God. Still very prominent the idea, if to thank God, even a man winning a car race goes, thank God I win the car race. Of course, what has it got to do with car race? That's another thing, but at least the idea is there still. But in countries like this one, there's no idea at all. It's all coming somehow from the system. Well, that system will collapse very soon. And will be not replaced by another system. They might be even, and you see people think about it, because when you look around, even the media is more and more interested in these apocalyptic, catastrophic scenarios, because they feel it coming. There's not one movie after another being advertised. The world is going under, finished. And they already play this scenario like this. Inspired by who? Inspired by a feeling they all have. We are going under. It's like when Prabhupada preached in these days, in the hippie days, it was not hippie, just love and peace and flower power. No, it was Vietnam War. Any young man was ordered to put on a uniform, and few hours he was in Vietnam. And it was not flower and power and love and peace and this. No. You could die and being tortured in the most brutal way. The horrors of that war was like, people didn't recover whole life from this. That's the material nature talking. So, so therefore many people took to Krishna consciousness also because of that. So Prabhupada was right there in the midst of the whole thing. Now back to the point, Prabhupada was not willing to change one thing what the Shastra is saying. And at that lecture, and that lady starts to say, well, it's your opinion, you can hear Prabhupada's voice being a little bit sharpened. He was going, not my opinion. This is what's in the scripture here, look. And that's what's stated here. And Prabhupada simply took shelter in that scripture, repeating. And then Krishna, being pleased by such a chaste devotee, he sent him people who were able to grasp the idea and follow to a great degree. So the success of life is to follow, not to invent anything and not to speculate anything. The real success in human life is to find a pure devotee and follow him. Simple concept, but not easy to achieve in Kali Yuga, which is the age of cheaters and cheated. Okay, some points you have more regarding Srila Prabhupada? Something you came across?
Srila Prabhupada, he also comes with many analogies in context of Shastra and Shastra's firmness, to also soften up a little, or like make it more available.
More understandable. Prabhupada's analogies are useful because it's a little bit like you put something very complex in some very simple graphical explanation. And then people go, aha, oh yeah. Analogies always define the principle without any complicated explanation. It's basically, analogy means it's basically a story, which illustrates the real point. Also, the advantage of analogy is it doesn't really address you and your false ego directly. You find in Bhagavatam extensive analogies being given about King Puranjana or something like that. Never happened. But it's detailed description spoken to a king. To deal with a king, he's used the whole day to sit around and give orders. So how does he accept an order? You cannot go to such a high velocity kshatriya and go, sit down, listen. That tone alone will get him going. So Narada Muni is very expert. He goes, once upon a time, there was in a faraway land a king, not you, no. And this happened to him, and then that happened to that. And the king listens, goes, wow, that's far out, and this. And somewhere down the line, he may get the point, hey, he's speaking about me. Humor is also good. Depends what kind of humor. There are different kinds of humor. Humor goes around the false ego. People laugh and then they go, ha ha ha. But the jokes can get too real. And when they realize, oh, this is about me, then usually the false ego gets activated, they stop laughing. You shouldn't say it like that. I mean, you mean me or what? No, I just meant another idiot. Like this. So, but it's very dangerous in Kali Yuga to preach. Like example, Prabhupada gave the example of Jesus Christ. He said he preached straight. And what happened to him? They nailed him on a cross. The very same people he preached to. Prabhupada said if they would really understand what I'm talking, they would shoot me.
You mentioned the other day that Prabhupada, he would never go further than his audience were capable of accepting, and how his lectures, they gradually developed throughout the years. So I was just wondering, when we listen to Srila Prabhupada, should we also start at his early years of preaching and then progress like that? Or?
The point is that Prabhupada was giving a preview, you could call it, like that. But it was just a preview. It was going along the Shastric explanation. So he could say, yes, here in the book it's like that. But he was not elaborating on that too much, knowing the audience not being qualified. Also what you hear, Prabhupada's recorded lectures, is not the whole Prabhupada. Prabhupada also stopped the lecture, got down from the Vyasa, and then he related personally to individual people that you find. I'm not saying you should study that now, it's not really necessary, but you find it in Prabhupada's letters, how individually and personally he was dealing with his disciples. Just in the letters alone, or to speak in his private talks. Then you find all this. This is coming out generally, gradually, when his disciples, like today, write books about what happened there, really. Which hopefully are not compromised by the influence of time, because you forget things and maybe you remember things not exactly as they were there, as you would like to actually remember them. The mind is like that. But let's assume that, like I know in Tatsaru Maharaj's writings, even in this book, which is just stories told by devotees, okay? But there's in the back references. Who said it, and in what context it was, heard, to give it the maximum authoritative appearance. It's touching. When you have to rely on what people remember, it's touching. So, people do remember those days when Prabhupada started to preach. He gave the preview, but he was not indulging audience in subjects which were actually could have been even harmful to them. Therefore, like the gentleman coming in, sharing with us the realization that he knows who he is in the spiritual world, and I would just very quickly, invited him to exit, because he's just concocting his dreams and preaching it to others. Starting right away with the fact that I could challenge him on the spot, but such a fool is not very productive to challenge. He will just describe, when you give a fool a good advice, he will become simply angry. When you give a good advice to an intelligent person, he becomes grateful. So when you see people becoming angry, then don't preach to them. Leave them alone. We are not obliged to follow any idiot. Let them again, otherwise you increase more and more offenses coming in. And this is violence. Stay away from it. But people who are a little bit, they may even say a foolish thing, but they don't insist on it really. So then you can say something. So Prabhupada was very careful about that. Not indulging people in things which would be harmful to them. I would challenge such a fool right away on that point. Oh, and who is your spiritual master, by the way? You will probably not even understand what I'm talking about. I am my own spiritual master. I just woke up and I realized, oh, that gopi I was in the spiritual world. He wasn't. Guarantee not. Because Krishna makes a condition in Bhagavad Gita, without acceptance of a bona fide spiritual master, there is no way to make spiritual progress. You can study, you can read, you can chant even. Nothing will happen. Actually, something may happen when you chant. Maybe you will suddenly feel the need to have a spiritual master. That's called progressive chanting. Yes. But you have to come to the point to have a spiritual master, otherwise your spiritual progress remains simply a mental exercise. I can imagine tonight I get the realization maybe I'm a really advanced devotee. I will read tonight Chaitanya Charitamrita. I will realize, my God, I was there. I was just there. Then I go to sleep and forget the whole thing. This is illusions. So it's just because you read transcendental literature doesn't mean that you are free immediately from illusions. Because you still don't understand who you are. And that understanding comes from a spiritual master, who will guide you through this, who will set priorities in your life. Don't bother with that. That comes later. Not now. Later. It's a good idea, but not now. Now you focus on this problem. This is now your problem. And he will give a relevant Shastric advice how to proceed through this period of life and deal with the problems you have, problems you don't even understand you have them. Like Prabhupada said, the first challenge in preaching is to convince people that they suffer. They don't even know that. That was in the same lecture. Prabhupada explains, a goat is getting butchered in a slaughterhouse, and the next goat standing him, his only problem is how to chew some grass. He doesn't understand, he's the next. So that first has to be pointed out. People sometimes say, aha, this is the typical religious approach. You scare people, and then you are really scared. Then you come, give donation, save yourself. This is how you intimidate. Therefore, it was called religion. The communists called it the religion is the opium for the people. It's a way to get intoxicated. No. We aren't intimidating anything. You are already intimidated. And we are not embarrassed. We don't want to embarrass you. You are already embarrassed. Prabhupada even said, these people are so insane. He got himself, while preaching in the early days, the argument, when he described how dangerous it is to become a dog or a cat and degrade in the animal species. He got back the argument, but it's wonderful. One hippie told him, it's very nice. I like to be dog. Prabhupada couldn't believe it. Why do you want to preach to a man like this? Another man told Prabhupada, what are you talking about this animals and you become an animal? We are all animals. Prabhupada looked at him firmly and said, maybe you, but not me. The man didn't say anything. He even joked when people started with this Darwinistic idea. We all come from a monkey. Prabhupada said, well, maybe you, but not me. This is the ocean of stupidity we address every day when we are preaching. But Prabhupada sometimes he could do it so humorously, and also he was in an age, he said, when you are in a certain age, you are an old man, you have kind of the license to say things straight out. Not people sometimes are hesitant just to get very heavy with an old man. But still Prabhupada got a solid opposition. And so did his disciples, even more so. Yeah.
So then, I also read that if you don't have a spiritual master, you cannot do any progress whatsoever. But still...
No, you make progress to get a spiritual master.
Yeah, but still, I mean, there can be ecstasy and one can be
this
really...
is described in Bhagavad Gita, you find it. I cannot tell you exactly the place, but there's described that when Krishna sees an aspiring devotee is serious, he gives him a taste. But very soon the devotee realizes if you want to keep that taste and you want to continue, you need more guidance. You will instinctively reach out for more guidance. It's completely natural. As a matter of fact, anything you want to do seriously, you need an authority. I mean, name me one activity you want to do seriously. Naturally, instinctively, you will reach for some guidance. Anything. Because there are already people doing these things, and obviously, you can see by result, they are quite expert. Anything. Cooking, gardening, anything you want to do, construction, you want to do car driving, anything you want to conduct, an activity, if you want to do it really good, then you immediately look who is doing this good. And then, that's common sense. Unfortunately, people are not common sense. They think, I can do it myself. It's childish. When you have children, you learn about this very fast. I remember that Swedish sentence my daughter always, it was her mantra. Jag kan. And she did something so stupid you cannot imagine. There's a certain age. As a girl, she wanted to dress in the dress of her puppet. And she was angry it doesn't work. She took this kind of shoes from the puppets, Barbie, and she wanted to put them on, and she was going, jag kan. And it didn't now. These shoes fitting on her feet. And then she was frustrated. But I couldn't say anything. I couldn't say, these shoes are a little bit too small. Jag kan. So I left her alone until she was sorely frustrated and she gave up on her. Children are like this. And it's inspired by Krishna because that's how they develop. First they come the mental blueprint. Walk! They cannot walk. But the idea is inspired from the Super Soul. You must walk. Then they go, yeah, I walk. No, they don't walk. They fall over. They go, oh, anyway. But the idea is so strong. No, jag kan. And then, and then they go, all kinds of stupid things. It's very dangerous too. Parents are flipping out. Where is he? He's walking. walking. No, and he's just hanging out of the window and yakan. A few days ago, we had here a little girl walking around. I caught her in the last minute, falling down from the balcony. I didn't call her, I was just yelling. The mother didn't even realize. Small girl, she said, I like the little apples on the tree. The tree standing next to the balcony. So I just crawled up. Somewhere she managed to get up. And she was hanging over the railing, going like this, reaching for the little apple. I was in the bathroom, I couldn't believe it. I just, bang! I was in 1 second in the room yelling. And the mother was completely on the opposite side of the room and cleaning something. And I said, how did that kid go there? There's a certain age. But you know, grown-up people do it too. From Krishna conscious point of view, we are all in the same shape. Yakan, and then boom, bam, boom. People are so professional to mess up their lives because of this impudence to take advice. So there is no chance for them in Krishna consciousness. It was Aristotle who said, I know, yes I know, that I don't know. That's where he could start to join the Bhakta program. For him that was like the end, big revelation. I know that I don't know. Well, that's where Bhagavad Gita starts. That's where Arjuna starts. You know, I know that I don't know. Now Krishna, please tell me, what shall I do? If you don't come to that point voluntarily, that cannot be enforced really. Ultimately it cannot be enforced. One has to come. That's called intelligent. But most of the people are not like that. They are in this mood. And then bang! Right now, here around us, there are people preparing such disasters for themselves. It's predictable. You give a child a big pile of matches and they go, Well, how long does it take before it sets something on fire? You know, keep on going. Sooner or later, fire. We had in Sweden a bunch of children burning down the whole cow barn with hay and everything. Fortunately, the cows were out there grazing. The devotees were chanting Hare Krishna, and suddenly they look out the window. There was this whole cow barn. It was big. It was, 5 times as long as this temple room, and it was just full fire. Not possible to extinguish that place, was leveled with the ground. Fortunately, everybody survived, including a dog who was trapped inside. The dog was then running around the farm for many, many months, completely confused, completely confused from the fire. Anyway, so this is the danger mentality. People have to give up, then they can make progress. What can you do? Who is benefiting from Srila Prabhupada's presence really? And now we have, that was not there in the beginning. People like brought their own really foolish ideas. Now people bring Shastric ideas. Because they are more educated, they have Prabhupada's books, they can read also all the other books, all about Krishna and Radha, something Prabhupada never said, really. There are so many books. When I came to Vrindavan the first time, it was just a little empty town. I mean, not empty, but silent, not much going on. The main shopping street was just, they were just selling some dhoti and some beads. That's it. Now we go to Vrindavan, bookshops everywhere. These books and this publishing company and it's all about Krishna. What kind of Krishna? Who translated these books? Who wrote these books? But devotees are knowledge, great, and they read all this, read. It's nice to be educated. How does it relate to you? Why should I read about the intimate pastimes of the Lord besides what was given by Prabhupada, which he said it's completely sufficient to go back home, back to Godhead. He didn't say, I will start you on the path and then you have to find somebody else to progress. I'm in the beginning, I just give you the beginning and then you graduate from this school and you go to another school. He never said that. He said, this is the school. From here you graduate back home, back to Godhead. Devotees sometimes they think, Prabhupada, very nice, we are not this body, I heard this, and life comes from life, I know all this. I want to know something more intimate about Krishna and Radha. Yeah, but what about your fifth girlfriend? What about your three regulative principles you follow? What about your behavior towards others? How do you act? We have people coming around, you will see it by the way tomorrow, who don't even know how to say hello, or the word please, but to speak of thank you. That was what my parents were teaching me. You want something? Say please. You got it? Say thank you. If I didn't, I still remember that prickly feeling in the back of my head. I'm grateful to them. Retrospectively, of course, for many years I was thinking, what the hell? But I was laughed upon even as a teenager. When I met the other teenagers, they were like, oh, just take it, bam, bam, bam. And they look at me, what are you doing? I ask them, could you give this to me, please? They're going, why are you saying this please all the time? Just take it and keep it. Don't say thank you, for what? That was the mood. That I'm very grateful to my parents because that gave me some entrance into Krishna consciousness. This is based on this principle. Can I come in, please? And when I get something, thank you. Most of the devotees have no even idea about this. They just come, big time, big time, Krishna, and fine, the deal is closed. Guess. Big time. Well, it's a little bit different what you say every morning, how you chant the holy name, You can chant like this for how many millions of lifetimes? So therefore I said, humble as the straw, on the street, humble as the grass. Always an attitude to serve others for spiritual purposes, not for material purposes. Oh, serve others, humble Vaishnava, very nice. Hey, give me this. Why should I? You are not going to use it for Krishna. You are not engaged in Srila Prabhupada's mission. Why should I serve you? Why should I serve you at all? Well, you must. You are a humble Vaishnava. What is humble? Well, humble means you serve me. Oh, really? Who said so? Hey. See, you have to act in knowledge, not out of sentiment. That doesn't pay off. To act out of sentiment can be very deceiving. So humility, you have to know what that is. Humility means to facilitate somebody's spiritual progress. And to obstruct somebody's spiritual progress, even in the name of humility, it's violence. You are harming that person. So therefore, knowledge has to be there. Back again to the point, that comes from spiritual master. So everything leads to this one point, spiritual autonomy.